Coleridge believed that inside our mind there were secrets that could be discovered. Imagination was the soul of humans, as it connected the mind with the macrocosmos. Moreover, he believed that imagination had the ability to create new worlds and change people's lives, and that drugs were tools that lifted humans to another level, to the limits of human imagination. He decided to move to the countryside when his child was born to protect him from city life. Coleridge, as well as Blake, believed in natural theology, i.e. finding God through nature, and also that children had to be schooled by nature. So he moved to the countryside for this reason. As a matter of fact, he moved to a cottage in Nether Stowey, Somerset, England, near the Quantock Hills, where he wrote Frost at Midnight, published in Lyrical Ballads with Wordsworth in 1798. The main themes of this poem are locus amenus, which is a literary topos that involves an idealized place of comfort that, for Coleridge, was the cottage, surrounded by nature where they lived. Apart from this, the sublime is another topic related to the idea that nature can be beautiful as well as dangerous and evilly wild. Finally, as previously mentioned, children in nature is another macro topic, as well as death as a glorious process of transformation.
Analyzing the linearity of the poem, we can see that it goes from the present, where he is in a cottage with his child, to the past, where he talks about his childhood. Then, he goes back to the present again and ends by going to the future, imagining his child's future. Analyzing the poem in depth, the poem starts with, "The frost performs its secret ministry." Frost is in capital letters, which implies a personification, and ministry is the work that priests did at that time. So the author is underlining the natural theology, i.e. that the frost, which is nature, performed the job of priests. Then he describes a silent, cold, and dark atmosphere. We can see here the pathetic fallacy as the author feels as the weather. As a matter of fact, it is so silent that he can hear the owlets cry. After that, he describes where he is inside the cottage. "Everyone is sleeping at that moment, the inmates of my cottage all rest. My cradled infant slumbers peacefully. It is so calm and quiet that he starts to feel annoyed, so calm that it disturbs, extreme silentness." After that, we can find integration polarities, as we can find nature and the village, sea, hill and wood, this populous village, sea, hill and wood. Moreover, he then focuses on the fire, which is turning off, symbolizing his passion, inaudible as dreams. "The thin blue flame lies on my low burnt fire, and quivers not, only that film, which fluttered on the grate, still flutters there, the sole unquiet thing." He ends the stanza with hope by saying that thought can be tricked, and makes a toy of thought. Moving on to the next stanza, he goes back to the past where he remembers his childhood. This is so because the fluttering movement of the fire reminds him of when he was a child, that fluttering stranger. We can also see the use of the poetic eye, as everything happens in his mind is purely subjective. It all happens in a deeper dimension, the imagination. In fact, he remembers his time before being sent to London as a time of pure happiness and joy, my sweet birthplace, and the old church tower, whose bells, the poor man's only music, rang from morn to evening, all the hot fair day, so sweetly, that they stirred and haunted me with a wild pleasure, falling on mine ear most like articulate sounds of things to come. He then mentions that when he was sent to school in London, it was like a jail for him. "So gazed I, till the soothing things I dreamt lulled me to sleep, and sleep prolonged my dreams. And so I brooded all the following morn, awed by the stern preceptor's face." He does not want that for his child, and ends the stanza being nostalgic about the time previous to being sent to London. "For still I hope to see the stranger's face, townsman, or aunt, or sister more beloved, my playmate when we both were clothed alike." After this, he returns to the present and describes again the silent atmosphere with his child close to him. "Dear babe, that sleepest cradled by my side, whose gentle breathings heard in this deep calm. Then he looks at his child with tenderness, my babe so beautiful. It thrills my heart with tender gladness, thus to look at thee. And starts talking in his head with his child, telling him that he will be able to see the beauties of nature apart from the stars, that the author did not have the opportunity to see, and think that thou shalt learn far other lore, and in far other scenes. For I was reared in the great city, pent mid cloisters dim. After that he mentions that he wants his son to go in the direction of nature, of the wind, but thou, my babe, shalt wander like a breeze. Here we can see the macro topic mentioned before, the relationship between children and nature. After that, we have a lot of imagery related to nature to underline natural theology. The author is glad that his son will have the opportunity to grow in nature, so he thinks about the future, by lakes and sandy shores, beneath the crags of ancient mountain, and beneath the clouds, which image in their bulk both lakes and shores and mountain crags. To finish with, he underlines the importance of natural theology, this is nature and personal experiences, as the way to reach God and nature as a universal teacher. So shalt thou see and hear the lovely shapes and sounds intelligible of that eternal language which thy God utters, who from eternity doth teach himself in all, and all things in himself. Great universal teacher, he shall mold thy spirit, and by giving make it ask. To conclude, in the last stanza he remains thinking about the future of his child, which he believes will be sweet because he will be in nature. Therefore all seasons shall be sweet to thee, whether the summer clothes the general earth with greenness, or the redbreast sit and sing betwixt the tufts of snow on the bare branch of mossy apple tree, while the night thatch smokes in the sun thaw. It does not matter what season is that the child will be happy, although it was not like this at the end. Finally, he visualizes drops falling in the roof, eavesdrops fall that turn into frost icicles, and finally remain silent. For that, he returns to the secret ministry of frost, underlining the sacred power of nature and that this natural element, frost, will hang the drops up in silent icicles, which will shine to the quiet moon. With this ending, the author implies that nature will be a witness of the connection between the moon, the high, and the icicle, the floor, meaning that nature encompasses everything. The poem has a hopeful ending as, even if it is silent, there will be light, the one of the moon and the icicle shining because of this light.